Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me on my live streams that I do most weekdays around 4 p.m. Central Time on YouTube, or outside of my live stream, you can consider joining the Discord I created. There's a link for that down in the description below. Also, down in the description below, you will find a link to a Pinterest board. A lot of times people ask me what food I'm eating to help me lose weight, and that Pinterest board is a great place for you guys to check out all of the whole food, plant-based meals that we enjoy. Today is day 829 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose 240 pounds so far. I have about 9 months left to go, a little less than 9 months to go. I'm very excited about reaching my goal here in the next 9 months and then spending the rest of my life at a healthy weight. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you are succeeding with your diet, let us know what you're doing that is so successful. Share it with everybody. If you're struggling with your diet, what's causing your struggles? And what are you going to do to to make it so that you can, what are you going to do to start making staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Switch over to the main screen here. Hello, Cindy and Pretty Girl's mom and Christy. Thanks for checking out today's video. I hope everybody had a wonderful evening last night. Hello, tennis and yoga girl. We had a pretty laid back evening, or I had a pretty laid back evening. Carrie ended up having to go to a school function for our son, so she got to go enjoy sitting in a gymnasium for 3 hours to watch our son do a 4-minute performance with the school choir. It was like an all district band choir concert, so kids from all of the different elementary schools, the junior high and the high school, all got together and did a performance for the spring, I guess. And so Carrie went and did that. I ended up hanging out with the other kids. It's just, we had been to this event in the past and it's just not comfortable. And so I ended up skipping it last night and hanging out at home and just had kind of a nice chill evening hanging out with the kids. Food since yesterday. Let me go ahead and pull this up. I know if you guys have been following me here for the past couple weeks, we've been trying to follow the Chef AJ's reboot. We did have an event this past weekend for my daughter's birthday, and one of the meals that Carrie made was a lasagna that is salt, oil, sugar free, but it isn't necessarily part, or wouldn't be considered something from Chef AJ's reboot. And so that's what I had leftovers of last night. Most of the ingredients in here I think are fine. It's just the noodles. There's probably some other things in that ricotta that Carrie made that might not be part of the reboot. And Carrie's been really the one more doing the reboot than me. I've just kind of been secondhand rebooting, sort of like secondhand smoking. So that was dinner last night. I did not take a photo of my broccoli this morning, but I did take a photo of the oatmeal. So I had a bag of broccoli. Somebody had asked me yesterday about my broccoli and potatoes, if we put anything in there, and we have been using the California balsamics vinegars in. If I just have a bag of broccoli, I'll put a little bit on that, or if I have broccoli and potatoes, I'll mix that in with it. before we had the balsamics, I was just eating plain broccoli and potato. And for the next week or two, I may have to. I know Carrie had put some of the table tasty in, and I think she enjoyed it today because we are pretty much out of California balsamics. So we were putting together an order to have a bunch of flavors. It's really nice having them, but they are a little bit pricey. So we kind of have to be, a little bit pay attention, I guess. But they're wonderful. I love all the flavors that we've had so far, and it just really helps add to what we've been eating. And so then after the broccoli this morning, I had the oatmeal. This oatmeal is kind of our standard oatmeal. It's our savory oatmeal with onions, mushrooms, and spinach in it. We had run out of steel cut oats. So hopefully Carrie picks some steel cut oats up on her way home from work today, or she will be picking up steel cut oats on her way back. I forgot today. I think I have to go pick up my kid after this. So, let's see here. Cindy Davis, super sticker, $9.99. I appreciate it so much, Cindy. You're amazing. So we will definitely use that to get some more California balsamics. Enjoy the vinegar. Yes. Thank you, Cindy. And so that will probably pop up on screen in a minute here. I should have waited till it came up on screen, but, so we had the oatmeal. I don't love our oatmeal right now. It's okay. I don't have a problem with it. There it is. Cindy Davis donated $9.99 through Super Chat. Thank you so much. That guy got all big and strong by eating oatmeal like there. He was in that bowl of oatmeal. Hello, Carrie. Hello. I hope everything's going great today. Real quick, do I got to pick up, our daughter from the thing tonight? So the, oatmeal, I'm not in love with it. It's edible. I'm still eating it. Carrie said that she did buy the steel cut oats today, which is great. But the two things that have kind of changed that I'm getting used to is we don't have any more of the Kirkland's no salt seasoning. And so we've started using this Table Tasty, which it has a good flavor. It's more of a nutritional yeast flavor, which I don't mind, but it's not. I like the Kirkland's no salt seasoning more, like that flavoring. I just liked it more. So we've been dealing with that, and then not having the steel cut oats. It just has a different texture. Eating these rolled oats, it's just, I don't know. It's weird. It's how most people eat oats is rolled oats, but it's so mushy. I miss the steel cut and the oat groats that we normally have. So that's really, for the past 4 or 5 days, that's what our oatmeal has been with the rolled oats and the Table Tasty. But it's still good. It's still very filling, and it is something that, hopefully Kirkland's comes back out, and maybe the nutritional yeast with the steel cut oats I will enjoy more. It might be the texture. Texture is a huge part of why we eat what we eat, and companies spend millions and millions of dollars creating the texture to their food. The Cheetos could be made differently and still have the same flavor, but they've actually spent time to engineer that people get satisfied from eating Cheetos, and having it stick in your teeth probably increases the amount that people eat it. They spend tons and tons of money doing research on that kind of stuff to get us to eat that food. And I did not end up taking a photo of lunch today, which is really confusing to me because I really feel like I did. So maybe I deleted a photo or something, but lunch today was our normal lunch. It was potatoes, bag of broccoli, and then I finished off the California Balsamics 7-herb Italian dressing or vinegar that we had on that today. So that was food in the past 24 hours. I feel amazing. I feel really thin right now. I know I say that a lot, but it's just kind of been my, what is it? My set, like just feeling thin is just kind of like how I feel consistently or all the time. And even, the clothing I wear fits better. Some of the clothing I'm wearing is falling off and I get comments about it. The shirt I'm wearing today, actually, I can stand up and show it off here in a second, but this is a shirt, I believe, I'm almost positive it's a 3X shirt. I got this shirt in 2001, July, right when I was at about 310 to 320 pounds, in that range. And it fit, but it wasn't like how I like my clothes to fit. And now it fits great. So I'm going to show it off real quick, I guess, and then we'll get back to it here. So it's just amazing the difference that 30 pounds makes, and then thinking about it now, that 30 pounds is 10%. I'm 90% the person that I was a year and a half ago. And so that 10% or that 30 pounds really made a difference. And so a shirt like this, when I first wore it, I could kind of feel it on the side, my hips, and then I kind of felt like it didn't go long enough. Now I got it tucked in and it's kind of bloused out. So, and so it fits much better here. Cindy says, looking good. Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks, Tennis and Yoga Girl, Barb, Pretty Girl's mom. I appreciate it. Cindy says you should be proud. I am very proud. And that's actually, I have the word proud written down in my notes here about something I'll talk about later. Not very, but totally related. They're unrelated. But yeah, I feel so good. And that's a big part of, or it's, because I'm at this weight, this 277.4 pounds is a weight that I just hadn't seen or felt for decades, like not even just one, but multiple decades since I was this weight. And now I've been, consistently this weight for a few weeks. I really am happy with how I feel. And I was looking in the mirror yesterday and kind of like trying to visualize what it's going to look like in the end, how I'm going to look in the end. And there's definitely going to be a lot of loose skin. I feel like I almost need a balloon to demonstrate what I want to talk about or how to explain it. But I feel like when I started this, I was a balloon that was blown up as absolutely big as you could make the balloon. And then as I've been losing weight, I've been deflating this balloon that's, the skin of my body. And I feel like up until now, it's really just looked like a smaller balloon. It's still a balloon, but it's a smaller balloon. But if you've ever inflated a balloon and then deflated it, that it'll get to a point where it's not really inflated anymore and the sides start to wrinkle. And I feel like I'm just getting into that with my skin. Like I'm just getting to the point where I'm really, it's really, it's impactful. Like every 10 pounds I lose from now until my goal, I'm going to see more and more loose skin. And it's just part of what is going to happen with this. I can't really get upset about it. If I find that it's causing me issues as I get to my goal weight and beyond, there might be something I can do. Or maybe eating this way, I won't have as much loose skin as I anticipated. But I will have loose skin. I'm not ignorant to that. Like, it's going to happen. And then, and I have loose skin in places where I didn't expect to have loose skin. I actually had physical therapy this morning And I was talking to my therapist a little bit about the physical therapist about the weight loss, because we just got talking about things, and I couldn't not talk about being a vegan. Like that's what you got to do if you're vegan. You can't let anybody know you're not. Um, and so, no, I got talking about weight loss. He was asking me if I had been working out or if I intended to do any working out. And I just kind of was like, well, no. But I got talking about the loose skin with him, and I got talking about diet and all kinds of stuff. I really went on a tangent. Like I probably was supposed to have a 20-minute physical therapy appointment this morning, and it went 40 minutes because the last 20 of it was just me talking about health and wellness and my progress and all that stuff. But we got talking about loose skin, and I have loose skin around my calves, which is really weird. Like it's the last thing I really, like if it'd be like having loose skin on your ears, like to me, it just seemed weird, that it happened, that I had loose skin in my calves, but it makes sense. Like I had very, very poor circulation, and my lower legs were extremely swollen, and I could put my finger in there, like push a little indent in there, and the skin had turned white, and then it would take, 30 seconds to a minute for that skin to kind of puff back up, because I just had so much fluid retention in my legs. And so I got loose skin kind of around my calves. And then the other place is kind of under my armpit is another place that I'm going to see a lot of loose skin. And then probably my arms themselves, and the nice thing with the calves and the arms, if I really wanted to, I could probably try to, build muscle to kind of re-inflate them. But with me having this injury, I don't have my brace on right now. Don't tell my doctor. With me having this injury, like my bicep muscle is like half the size as it used to be. And so I have lots of loose skin on that right now. I don't know if I can, I don't know if it portrays it very well, but like this right here. And so, but as I get, closer to my weight, we'll see how that ends up turning out. And I'm not gonna get too worked up about it or too concerned about it, but it's something that is in my future. So let's see. I did talk a little bit about physical therapy. I had physical therapy this morning. I had seen my doctor at the end of last week, and he unlocked my brace so that I can have full range of motion with my arm. And so he just told me to wear my brace for about another month. I'm just sitting at my desk here. I'm not really in a position where I could fall or injure myself. So that's why I don't have my brace on. But physical therapy went well this morning. I have been healing much faster than kind of what the sheet shows. And so the physical therapist, he's a little bit handcuffed by what his orders are. Like he's only allowed to do certain things. Since the first day I saw him when I had surgery a month and a half ago, I probably had more range of motion the first time I saw my physical therapist than what the doctor is, like the sheet he has allows me to do right now. Even though the doctor let me unlock the brace and kind of told me certain things, the physical therapist still has to follow the protocol that he was given. Pretty Girl's mom says, I think your arms aren't that bad for the amount of weight you lost. Thanks. Yeah. I don't think they're bad at all, and I really have to like get into like a position of having my skin hang like, well, there you go. Yeah, like to actually kind of get it to show. And then, like I said, if I want to, if it's a concern, I can work out, I can try to build muscles to try to refill that in. I don't ever anticipate being, strong enough to refill in the arms, but and I didn't have a lot of excess fat. Like I had excess fat on my limbs, on my arms and my legs, but it's not near the excess fat that I had in my abdomen, in my hips, my chest, and my back. Like that's where most of my fat would kind of accumulate. Even up until the swelling got real bad, when I was at my heaviest, I would still be able to flex my calves and you would still see some definition because there wasn't near as much fat around my lower legs as my abdomen and my belly. Pretty Girl's mom says, if you looked that good, you'd be overjoyed. But you are 27 years older than me. Yeah. And in 27 years, maybe I'll be wishing I had the arms I had when I was 40. But yeah, it's I didn't really plan on talking about loose skin today. But it really has been it's really been far from my thought process. Like it was yesterday was really one of the first times I stood in front of a mirror and was kind of looking at how the sagging was going and where it was going to happen. But eventually I'll be there and we'll see what it's like. I'm very interested to seeing what I do look like at the end of this. Like what's the result? But I mean, that was 40 years or at least 20 years of dietary abuse that I put my body through. So you're going to have some consequences. I'm going to have lots of loose skin. I'm going to have lots of stretch marks, things like that. It's just going to be part of it. The thing I wanted to talk about a little bit today are the keys to successful weight loss. And I'd like to know what you guys think the keys for successful weight loss are, or what your keys for successful weight loss have been. And there's all kinds of keys, or there's, it's a door that many keys can unlock, I suppose. But, there's, the first thing that pops into my mind when I started thinking about this topic was Chef AJ's book that I read, The Secret to Ultimate Weight Loss. And she talks about the 7 C's of success, or 7 C's. I looked it up. Where did I look it up at? I can't remember. It's the 7 C's to success. Yes. The Chef AJ 7 C's to success. And I kind of, like I said, when I first started thinking about this, I kind of went to that right away because I think there's a lot of that it's important. Christy here says to focus on the fundamentals. Yes. And it's to make it basic, keep it simple, definitely will help. And to just focus on the practice, like you said, on the fundamentals of it. And if the minutia, that don't get too lost in it, but focus on the overall fundamentals of it. In looking at, the C's to success, a couple of them that pop up, is consistency. That's a huge part of success. That's how you're going to add days together of consistent focus on your overall health and well-being. And the more days you can chain together, the more success you will see. And the easier it will be to stay on your diet. And when you're able to stay consistent on your diet, when the rest of your life is chaos, you need to work on that consistency. You let the world burn around you, but focus on keeping consistent with your dietary choices, because they really don't, we put so much weight in the food that we eat, but we shouldn't. It really needs to be used for fuel. And we try to derive too much pleasure from our food. And so when everything around you is going crazy and chaotic, you think that you can, derive that pleasure from food. And it's easy to do. I can go anywhere and I can get a quick dopamine fix, and I can get it in less than 5 minutes. It's easy to fix your mood with food, but if you stay consistent with your diet, it's going to help you succeed. The other is compliance, and that's part of, focusing on the fundamentals and staying compliant. That is something that I noticed when I started this. I was compliant for 11 months, no problem. And then I had one meal that wasn't compliant. And then it got tough. It got a lot tougher after I was no longer compliant. And now that I've recommitted and I've been compliant here for the past probably 4 months now, I have to go back and see how long it's been. I really feel that compliance paying off and seeing the weight I want to see. Tammy here says, thank you, Jonathan. I really needed to hear this today. The other people in your house have filled the kitchen with all sorts of stuff you don't choose to eat. And then Cindy says, don't use food for emotional support. Yeah. It's tough when you got a house full of food that you can't eat. And you got to, it's that, another key to success for me is abstinence. It really is. It's to abstain from these foods, to just say they are no longer on the plate, literally. Like, I have had no problems abstaining from animal products since we started this diet. I've had no problems abstaining from some really, really high processed foods. But that 11-month mark, when I let the consistency and the compliance go to the side, then the abstinence went to the side too. And I saw how tough it was, that once I allowed myself to have a soda or to have a burger from a restaurant, not a vegan burger, I'm sorry, or a meal from a restaurant, that it was tough, But before, when it was like, no, I don't do that, it was easy. Like, it went from, no, I don't do that, which is easy, to, I do that sometimes. And then it gets tough to talk yourself out of it when it's, I do that sometimes, because the reward appears to be so great. And then let's see here. Barb says, don't eat below your hunger drive and attempt to lose weight more quickly. Yes, that is one of the keys to successful weight loss I have here, but it's under the avoid category. And so what you have to do is you have to unlearn all these traits that we have had drilled into us from years and years of bad diets. All of the diets that I ever ate in the past required me to eat below my hunger drive. It was imperative for the success of the diet for me to go against my natural instincts. And that can't last long enough. Eating below what your body naturally wants you to do is like getting 2 hours of sleep each night. It's like undersleeping. For the first week, you might do okay. For the first 2 weeks, you might be okay. But you go a month, you go 4 months, you go 5 months with only getting 2 to 3 hours of sleep per night, you are going to be a shell of the person that you were before you started this. And the same thing happens with diet. If you chronically undereat, you may be okay for a week. You may be okay for a month. I went as far as like 10 months when I was taking phentermine, which was the only reason I was able to eat below my hunger drive. But it's not sustainable. Our bodies are amazing machines. Like, what they can do is just wild. And we get in the way of it by eating this junk food. So Tammy says, you're powering through it. You're not going to break that chain today. Yes, that's awesome. And that chain's going to be longer and stronger. And the next time this happens, you can go back. Like, in the moment right now, you have to realize that you are giving yourself a tool for later on. If you get through this weekend or this event or this thing where you have food in your house, it's filled the kitchen with all sorts of stuff you don't eat. If you can get through that today, then tomorrow you can go back and say, I did that yesterday. Why can't I do it today? Why would it be any different? And then if it's a thing where it's consistent, sort of like at our house, our kids have foods that they take to school for lunches and that they have that aren't part of my thing. Eventually it's a non-issue for me. Like I can see my kids' things in the cupboard and not be concerned about it at all, but it didn't just happen. It took creating those scenarios where I won. You have to create a scenario where you can be a victor, and you have to give yourself the equipment that you need to be a victor in that moment, to win that moment, so that you can come back and say, hey, I got the trophy from last time and you're going to have to come take it from me, But yeah, there's the keys to successful weight loss, the things I talked about, the consistency and the compliance. And then there's also the things you need to avoid, like under eating, or the myth of moderation, the myth of moderate change. The under eating is the myth of moderate consumption, but the myth of moderate change, the idea that you can just dip your toe into a healthy diet and eventually you're going to come out a healthy person. That's not what happens. You have to commit. You have to make big changes. If you want to see big changes in your life, you have to make big changes. It's just the way it is. Carrie here says, go Tammy. Yes, go Tammy. You can do it. Barb says, hang in there. You can do it. Cindy here says, I think if we change the perspective from I have to eat this way to I get to eat this way, it reinforces your goal. Yes, absolutely. And I do think about that because I get to eat so much food. Like it's the volume of this diet is what's so rewarding for me. I'm not hungry at all today. And I'm the same weight or lighter than I was 6 days ago. And that's, to me, is huge. That's not something I'd ever had happen on any diet I'd done before. If I wanted to see that weight loss, I had to undereat. I had to eat well below my calories for the day. The other things that I talked about here too is education. It and maybe that with Chef AJ's C's of success, maybe that falls under commitment. But for me, that's been huge. The education, the time that I spent learning about this way of eating and how to eat this way. And then also, I guess it would be another one. Cooking is another one of her C's there, I think. But the education of learning how to eat this way. I jumped into this whole challenge with a water fast with no idea how I planned to eat. But I did know that I was going to spend the first, however long I was able to water fast, the whole time I was water fasting, my goal was to spend that time educating myself on how I was going to eat when I got done. And going in, I had no idea I was going to come out eating a plant-based diet, but that's what happened. And then once I decided to eat a plant-based diet, that is so foreign to any way that I had ever eaten before, that the only way I was going to succeed, or one of the biggest reasons why I was able to succeed, is because I made that commitment to educate myself. I listened to the Pleasure Trap book while I was fasting. I listened to Dr. Fuhrman's book. I went from Dr. Fuhrman's book to, I don't know, the whole list of them's down below. But I read over a dozen plant-based books in the first year. I read some motivational books, some lifestyle books, but I spent a lot of time educating myself, because even though I thought I was a very intelligent person and I thought that I knew about diet and weight loss, because I had dieted and I had weight lost, I had to really look at myself and be like, how much knowledge can I really have if I'm 520 pounds? Like, and of that knowledge that I have, what good is that knowledge if it's not anything that I can put to practice? And And Cindy here says that she watches a video on whole food plant-based, or she reads from a book about whole food plant-based literally every day. And I do the same. I watch lots of videos on YouTube about eating plant-based. Chef AJ had Dr. Lisle on today. I absolutely listened to parts of that video today because I think Dr. Lisle has a lot of the psychology and I think he's that team between him and Goldhamer. They have a lot of this kind of ironed out. They, he has a great kind of Dr. Lisle today, the part that I was listening to, was about the behavioral equilibrium. And I've brought that up a lot on here, is the understanding that the plateaus are a function of three things. If you're on a plateau, it's either your genetics, it's your diet, or your exercise. You can't change your genetics. So if you change your diet and your exercise, you're going to see some results. And I really like that kind of layout and how he explains it. So, Carrie says, so smart. We do the same podcast, YouTube. Yeah. It's great. And it really helped, being that I went from not knowing how to do this at all. Like, I stood in that pantry. I can still remember standing in my pantry, staring at it and just being like, how is any of this food? And it's all food. It's all actually real food, but it wasn't boxed macaroni and cheese. And it wasn't, I don't know, Hamburger Helper or whatever, we used to make out of the boxes, all the processed crap we used to eat. It seemed so natural to make that food because I grew up learning how to make mac and cheese, but it's not natural. If I handed a box of macaroni and cheese to somebody from the 1400s, they'd be like, what is this? Here, give me food. Don't give me a box. Give me food, but that was what food was for me, was this box packaged food, this brown food that's in bright red and blue and yellow boxes. And so I stood in the pantry and I looked at ingredients like quinoa and bulgur wheat and brown rice even for me, and all those ingredients. And I'm just like, I don't even know what to do. Barb here says, her too, it's a way to counter the bombardment of unhealthy messages on junk food. Yeah. And then, YouTube and these social media platforms they're a bit toxic, I have YouTube. A lot of you guys, I imagine, you use YouTube if you're watching me here, but there's kind of the channels I subscribe to and all of those feeds and the stuff that I want to watch. And then there's your homepage that has a bunch of stuff that you also do watch. You just don't subscribe to those things. And it's amazing. If I watch one kind of keto video or carnivore video, because I'm interested in what people are saying, because I'm not, because people are claiming they're having success with that way of eating. And I'm showing that I'm having success with this way of eating. So I'll watch one video or I'll watch a snippet, or it'll auto play on my phone. And then it seems like the next time I go, it's all, this, not what I'm wanting to watch. So, but yeah, try to educate yourself, surround yourself by, with positive, things that are going to help teach you how to be a better dieter, how to be a better plant-based dieter, I guess, and then one of the things that I have here that, it's that when you start your weight loss, or you're trying to lose weight, or you have lost weight, I think that you have to have a little pride in yourself. You have to be proud about what you're doing. So many times I was in the closet about weight loss. I was trying to hide it from people. I didn't want anybody to know that I was going to try to lose weight. I think in my head, I had this vision that I would go into this hole, and then 9 months later I'd come out and I'd be like, hey, look at me, everybody, I'm thin, and so while I'm dieting, while I'm trying to figure it out, I'm closed off, and I'm not proud of what I'm doing. And I think that developed over years and years, because if I think back to my earliest weight loss successes, I can remember how proud of those successes I was. Like when I was in high school, I had to lose 25 pounds for a wrestling competition where I was weighing to wrestle at the weight I wanted to wrestle at. I had to lose 25 pounds, and I had to do it in a very short amount of time. I can remember being so proud of doing that. But then even in college, when I got to the point where I was up into the 320s, 350s, and I started actively trying to diet or do a program to lose weight, the first program I ever did was Advocare. And a big thing about Advocare was that it was like a multi-level marketing kind of setup where you would buy products and you'd consume those products yourself, but then you would also buy products to sell to other people. And then you would try to get people underneath you to try to buy their own products and then sell kits to people, and then you make money. But I can remember the whole time I was doing that, like, I wasn't hiding what I was doing. I was very proud of what I was doing. I was putting it out there. I was trying to sell stuff to people based on what I was doing. But then, and I saw some success. I lost 50 or 60 pounds, but then they quit being able to put ephedra in it, which is probably the only reason why it was really that successful. So I didn't see the success anymore. And then I gained the weight back. And so then the next time I went to lose weight, I had already kind of shouted from the rooftops a little bit that I had succeeded with this Advocare thing, because I lost 50 pounds and I was kind of like, yeah, I did it, And then I see people a year later and I'm heavier than what I was before I started that diet. And so you lose some of that confidence in what you're doing, and you lose that pride in your ability to diet. You lose the confidence in your ability to diet. So you're not as proud of what you're doing. And so by the time I'm 40, I'm trying to closet diet. I'm trying to self-motivate myself to do a diet that I don't have anybody in my corner. You're trying to do it alone, and trying to do it by yourself is very tough. And that's another one of Chef AJ's C's to success is community. And I think that going and watching whole food, plant-based videos on YouTube and being like here, these are communities to join to help be proud of what you're doing, to shout it from the rooftops, or at least to vocalize it. I spent years and years doing 2-hour diets where I would wake up in the morning and in my head, I would be like, okay, today's the day I'm going to do it. I didn't have a plan on what I was going to do. I was going to eat healthier. I was going to eat less. I was going to moderately change, and I was going to moderately consume. And, it wouldn't last. It would last like an hour or two. It wouldn't last to me even getting to work, because I wouldn't tell anybody. I wouldn't be proud of what I was doing. I didn't have any confidence in what I was doing, because in my head, I'm looking back at the constant failures that I had over the 20 years. So I think a big part of it is you need to be proud, or be willing to stand up and say, hey, I'm doing something. I'm working on myself now. Let people know what you're trying to do. Not just for yourself, but maybe to get them out of your way. Maybe they don't know they're tempting you with something you don't want, but it's because you haven't told them. Let's say you decided to eat a plant-based diet, but you haven't told anybody you're eating a plant-based diet. So then you go to your aunt's house this weekend, or you go to your friend's house this weekend, and they start offering you non-compliant foods because they don't know what you're doing. But if you said, hey, I'm eating plant-based, I'm trying to lose weight, and if you're where I was at 520 pounds, anybody who loved me wanted me to lose weight. So if I told them I was doing something to lose weight, they just said, okay, what do I have to do? I'll plant tomatoes for you if it's what you need. the um oh I lost my train of thought here. Uh it was being proud and oh yeah, just the it's something about oh yeah, them getting in your way. Yeah, you need to let people know what you're doing so they don't get in your way. Like if when I told my family I was eating a plant-based diet, they were happy that I was doing anything that had the word diet in it. Like, and so when they, found out I was on a diet, then they're like, okay, what can I do to help you to stay on your diet? And if you're in your own head, if you're doing it on your own, you don't get that help from other people. And you'd be surprised at how many people might want to help you. You might think they're judging you. But like for me, I have this great support with my wife, and the second that I told her I wanted to lose weight, she was like, whatever you want to do. You want to eat meat the rest of your, you want to do all meat, you want to do exercise, you want to eat, a paleo diet, you want to eat a Mediterranean diet, you want to eat couch cushions. I don't care. Just as long as it's got the word diet attached to it, I want to see you lose weight. And a lot of you guys out there that are grossly overweight, like I was and still am, just know that your loved ones want to see you alive. They want to see you succeed with weight loss. And in order to do it, you might have to not do what you've been doing. Like that's the keys to success here. The joke about you're walking around your house and you're looking for your keys, and they're always in the last place you look for them, right? Well, that's what I feel about this diet. I've been spending my whole life looking for the right diet, and it was finally in the last place I looked for it. Like, I don't need to keep looking for my keys. I found it. I found the key to my weight loss success, and it's eating a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet. And I believe that so many people out there would benefit from trying this way of eating. How many of people out there are saying, I've done every diet, I've tried everything? Did you try cutting salt, oil, sugar out of your diet? No, what? You can't do that. Look at me. Look at Chef AJ. Look at Dr. Goldhamer. Look at Dr. Lisle. Look at Janet. Look at Cindy. Even all you people here. Like there's, it's absolutely a successful way to lose weight. And people can't get out of their head. You have to forget. That's another key to your success. Is you have to forget everything you learned about dieting. You have to forget everything you learned about how to cook food. You have to forget everything you learned. If you're 400, 500 pounds like I was, everything you know is wrong. Like, that's just the way it is. And so, that's really the big things for me. The key, there's so many keys to success. Like I said, there's Chef AJ's, the C's to success. There's what I talked about here, and then there's, not just the things you can do to succeed, but the things you should avoid. You need to also plan, take the time to get a plan together, have food in your future, like that's a big part of it. Just having, what are you going to do to make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? You have to drive around with a bag of potatoes in your passenger seat so you don't stop at the gas station. Maybe that's what you have to do, but it's going to keep you on your diet, because as long as the food that you are able to eat, that's, if you're eating a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, as long as that food is more accessible or more easily accessible to you than the junk food, you'll always have to make that choice. If I have to step over a bag of apples to eat a soda, that's something I actively have to do. I have to look there and say, I'm not going to eat this bag of apples, but if there's no bag of apples there and all that's there is a soda, then there's nothing to keep me, there's nothing to help buffer it. So just do things, or try to put yourself in a position where you're able to make staying on your diet easier than the alternative, easier than eating the junk food. So, I'm trying to think. I got a little bit more time here before I have to get out of here, but those were the big ones here, the and that the myth of moderation, the myth of moderate change. I know I talked about it already here, but that's something that so many times in the past I thought that I could just eat moderately and I would win. And a big key to my success here has been volume eating and calorie density. And so the those two principles, if you can put them together and eat the largest volume of food possible with the lowest calorie density, you're really going to see some success. If you can eat foods that are below 600 calories per pound, you're going to see weight loss success. And this is something I talked about with my trainer this morning, because he's a much shorter person than me, much thinner person, much more active. He's a high school coach, and the two of us are different genetically, but we're also different in how we consume food. Like, I can look at him and I can say, this guy is satisfied with eating half as much food as I'm satisfied eating, because he's probably, from when I was 500 pounds, this guy is maybe 160 pounds soaking wet, 170 pounds. So, I was 350 pounds heavier than him. That's crazy. But so I know that I just naturally eat more food than him. Maybe it's a natural thing, or maybe it's a trained thing, but I have to eat more food than a thin person, that somebody that seems to be naturally thin, eating a closer to a standard American diet than I eat. But I can beat him in the calorie intake per day if I focus on the density of my calories. He may only need 3 pounds of food to be satisfied, whereas I need 5 pounds to be satisfied. But if I make sure that, 4 of those 5 pounds I have, or all 5 of those pounds that I have, are under 600 calories per pound, then I'm going to eat a lower calorie, overall calories, than somebody who's eating like 16 or 1700 calories per pound of food. So, I have to eat twice as much food as somebody who's naturally thin. So I need to double, or I need to divide the calories by 2. Like, if I could eat half as much food, then maybe I could get away with eating 1,000 calories per pound. But I know that if I eat less food, that it leads to binging later. I need to, like they said earlier here, you don't want to you don't want to undereat your hunger drive. And that's something that I've definitely not been undereating for my hunger drive. That is for sure. And also, forget the calories in, calories out. Don't let calories in, calories out rule your life. I think that calories in, calories out is like it's like the scientific community trying to teach weight loss to first graders. It's like, it would be like Einstein breaking down his theory of relativity to 2 + 2 = 4. I feel like that's what the calories in, calories out is. It's the most simplified version of what our bodies do. We bring food in and then we expend energy, and that's the calories in, calories out. But it doesn't account for absorption at all. If you're eating foods that are high in calories and also highly absorbable, you're going to have a lot of calories in your body. But if you're eating something that's high in calories but has a low absorbability, then it's going to affect that calories in part of it. All of us, when we look at these calorie counts on the labels and the weighing our food and doing this stuff, we are calculating it as if we are absorbing 100% of the calories that we put into our mouth. And I don't believe that that's true. I think that you can sit there and I can feed you a can of corn, and that's all the evidence you need to know that your body doesn't absorb everything that you take in, because there's also what you pass, like the calories in, calories out. Everybody thinks of calories out as what's my total daily energy expenditure? How much extra workout did I did? That's my calories out. But what about the calories your body didn't absorb? What about the calories you pooped out? Like, where is that in the equation? Like that's part of the equation too. But, and so the calories in, calories out is a poor model for weight loss, because it doesn't expand it enough. I think that if you had calories in plus versus calories absorbed versus, like what, it would be it's such a complex equation, and it's different for each one of us, and so I could maybe consume 200 calories of kerneled corn, and my body absorbs 150 calories of it. Whereas if you ate 200 calories of kerneled corn, maybe your body absorbs 130 calories of it. So, it's a bad model to follow. Don't worry about weighing your food. Don't worry about all these things. Just eat an abundance of whole food, plant-based foods. So, I am going to get out of here though, guys. I appreciate you checking out my stream today. Thank you so much for all the participation, all of the different things that you guys believe are keys to your weight loss success. I really appreciate it. And like I said, there's so many more out there. And if you're watching this on the replay or on the video on demand or whatever, let me know what your keys to success have been, or maybe they've already been keys that we talked about here, but what are you doing to make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? And that's where you're going to really see some success, is staying on your diet is where you'll see the success. But yes, I'm out of here. Thank you guys. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you get subscribed to the channel. If you haven't clicked on the bell icon to get alerted when I go live and post new videos, make sure you do that. If you have not liked this video, comment down below what your keys to success are. Make sure you do that. And last but not least, Carrie says I'm her key to success. Well, you're my key to success, Carrie. Thank you. But if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. There's nobody that gets to their goal. There's nobody that reaches their goal and then looks back and says, I wish I would have waited. Why was I in such a hurry to get started? I only spent 20 years of my life overweight. I could have been another 1 year overweight. Like nobody says that. Everybody looks back and says, wow, if I'd have known, I would have got started so much sooner. And I feel the same way. I'm still 58 pounds away from my 58 pounds away from my goal. And I wish I would have started, the first time I got on a scale 6 months before I started this, if I would have started then, how much further along would I be, So get started right now, guys. I will talk to you all tomorrow for weigh-in Wednesday. I will plan on doing a video of the weigh-in, and then we'll go over it during the live stream later in the day. So you guys have a great evening. We will see you tomorrow.